people are mean, and sometimes it takes us a band to make one slightly naff song, and everyone thinks they're a joke. For instance, I mentioned the Spin Doctors, a bloody great band, but because of Two Princes, which is a bit cheesy, everyone thinks they're naff. However, I am now gonna do a list of 5 great bands with stinker periods, and the Spin Doctors don't qualify because they just had one naff song, not even a full naff album, and still you hate them, you harsh bastards. At number 5, ZZ Top. I'm gonna keep this brief because if you've watched my video, you know I'm a huge fan. They are a great hard-rocking blues band, and like quite a lot of the bands of their generation, they had a flat from MTV Pop in the 80s. Perhaps unfortunately, they were quite a lot better at it than most of the other bands that tried. Therefore, a lot of people think this is what they're about, but no, it's not. It was just 2 albums in the 80s. Get over it. At number 4, I'm gonna put both the bands Yes and Genesis. I put these at 1 as I admit I'm not that upper folk, so don't know too much about either. However, I know both bands are highly respected as 70s folk bands, and both bands went cheesy pop in the 80s, especially in Genesis' case when the legend Peter Gabriel left and they let the tosser Phil Collins at the wheel. But before then, I am told they were great, so if you like folk, check both bands out. Number 3, the Steve Miller Band. Yeah, you probably know all the hits when they were really successful and really radio friendly in the mid-70s, but throughout their career they were putting out fantastic rhythm and blues. Just listen to some of the early albums. In fact, one of my favourite bands, the Hamsters, I forgot one of the early live albums, and there's so many Steve Miller covers. They wrote so many fantastic songs that surely you can forgive them for going a bit cheesy at one point. Forget being a joker, the midnight smoker, or whatever he sings. I'm talking about being the gangster of love. At number 2, Radiohead. Now, maybe you don't put out one of the greatest albums ever, and go a bit up your arse after that. After OK Computer, Radiohead went a bit weird. Kid A, Amnesiac, King of the Limbs, but you've still heard wonderful albums like In Rainbows and Hail to the Thief. However, people should judge Radiohead for the BP albums. BP Electronic Weird albums, because they also make some of the bloody best albums in the world. As I said in a previous video, I'm more concerned with some of Tommy York's statements about Palestine, but apparently you're not allowed to talk about politics in videos. And at number 1, an artist that typifies this list, Steve Winwood. I'm a huge fan of the sitcom It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and the character Dennis, who thinks he's so suave and cool, but really isn't, is a huge Steve Winwood fan, specifically 80s Steve Winwood. But I'm always reminding fans of the show that no, the guy is genuinely a legend. He just had a forgettable, unfortunate stage in the 80s. The guy played Hammond organ on my favourite Jimi Hendrix song, Voodoo Child. He was in the Spencer Davis School. He was in Blind Faith. He was in Traffic. He still makes good music, despite unfortunately being tall. The guy can play organ like a badass, and he can also play guitar like a badass. He does everything superbly, and perhaps unfortunately everything includes cheesy 80s pop, but I really think you should be able to see past his 80s cheese. Okay, there were my 5 great bands with regrettable periods. What do you think? Was it fair? Unfair? Why not tell me in the comments? And now, with apologies to Rick Beato, bands like Toto and Steely Dan were not included, as I know he goes on about how great they really are, and I know Steve Lukather is a talented guitarist and a fan of mine in interviews, but sorry, I just still find that music pure cheese. Maybe I'm missing out, I don't know. Please subscribe, hit that bell button, check out my other videos. All that stuff helps. Thank you.